Friday. I almost said December. It's February 10th, and we've got some great guests on today's show. We have got Sean and Tiffany from the Wondering Airstream. They've got a painted white vintage Airstream. This is awesome. We've got Sean and Tiffany. Wave there for them, guys. And this is RVNN-Live, brought to you in part by PetHub and GoToMeeting.
Today's program brought to you by PetHub. Protect your pet for pennies a day with critical contact, medical, and dietary information on a smartphone scannable ID tag. And by GoToMeeting, affordable online meetings that work so you can do more and travel less.
Hey everyone, it's Courtney Wallen here at RVNN TV, and of course joined in studio some other letter, Andy McCaskey.
Some other letter. Hey, and you guys are going to get
Today's
not one, but two RVNN stickers for the patience that you've exhibited the past half hour as we've been scrambling here. You know, as we say, it's live TV.
It's live TV, and again, thank you for your patience, but we've got Sean and Tiffany from the Wondering Airstream blog. How are you guys today?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us. And again, man, they've been sitting here for like, I don't know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
You guys are best friends. You know, you reveal life stories on both sides, and really, it's been interesting and entertaining. I haven't gotten to hear it though, but so we'll ask some of those same questions.
Yeah, I've been able to sit here and chat with them about more than just the RV lifestyle, some of the stuff that they do on the side, but had a really good time so far. But if you haven't checked them out, go to wonderingairstream.com. You'll find Sean and Tiffany's blog there. They've got her blog, his blog. They talk about they're doing a restoration of an old house, and then they've got Eddie, the painted Airstream. So, guys, let's just start from the basics. You took a trip in 2011.
Today's program
and
brought to
you know
by
what's still going
PetHub.
on, and I apologize to everyone that's
for
listening. I was looping the commercial over and over and over again.
Oh, well, that will get
so
fixed
sorry,
in
you heard
post, right?
PetHub over this. So anyway, yeah, joke right there. So let's get back to sorry, you guys were hearing that commercial over and over again. Let's get back to the basics. Like I said, why did you choose to take this RV trip in 2011? Why RVing? You know, what kind of brought you onto that?
Well, we wanted to see so many things in the United States, and we didn't want to do it at 2-week intervals for the next 20 years. We wanted to see everything now, and we thought RVing was the best way to go about that. So we also wanted to look for a new place to live, and we weren't sure where that would be. And we also thought that being in the Airstream would give us an opportunity to both see the United States and also hopefully find somewhere to live, which we did.
But you didn't realize that you were buying into a subculture when you did that, right?
Well, with Airstream a little bit, we did, only because I grew up, my parents always had vintage Airstreams, Avions, Spartans. So I knew a little bit of the history with the Airstream, which is why we ultimately chose Airstream, is to be a part of the bigger culture that goes beyond just being an RVer.
See, was it hard to find Eddie? I think is a 1973. Is that right?
Yes, in 1973. It was. It took about a little bit over a year to find exactly what we were looking for.
And what was on your checklist? The basic criteria that you had.
The main things were, we wanted something that was small, and we wanted an open floor plan, and we wanted panoramic windows in the front, and that was mainly prevalent in vintage Airstreams, and in the 80s it became more popular and was in all Airstreams, but we really liked the look of the 70s. We liked the true vintage feel. So that was some of our criteria.
So previously owned, was it maybe well used as well?
Well used. Yes, very
now, what
well
does that
used.
mean?
Well, we were just happy it was owned by a woman, because we figured it could have been a little worse of a condition.
Ah. Are you saying men are messy?
Yeah, could have been some trouble.
So it could have been like a hunting lodge or something of that nature.
Yes.
With an escape hatch in the floor.
I've got a picture up here of Eddie, and it's beautiful. I painted Airstream, which these are a little bit more rare, would you say?
Mm-hmm. They are, because they were only made for 7 years, so you really don't see them very often.
And we were talking about towing capabilities here, and I was just explaining to you guys how I don't really want to, get a trailer that I have to get a new vehicle to tow, but when they're painted like this, a little bit more heavy.
Right, because the ends are made of steel, so it adds a significant amount of weight to the Airstream and requires a pretty hefty vehicle to tow it.
Mm-hmm. I guess. Now, did you replace all the appliances and so forth, all of the systems, or how much of did you have to tear it down to bare metal, or what was involved in the restoration?
We were pretty lucky. We got one that the body was in perfect condition. All the utilities were able to be fixed, so we could reuse them instead of having to buy new of everything. We did find out one thing with the oven and stove is that the thermal coupler in the oven, they're non-replaceable, and so you have to buy completely new. But we were able to fix ours so we can continue using it because we really like the old style.
Yeah. Now, did you find that out before you set out, or was that something that just kind of appeared as a little bag of surprises as you went down the road?
Well, since we didn't stay in it until we left, we had more than our fair share of surprises, especially when you go to cook a pizza and you have to throw it on the grill because that's the only thing big enough to cook it.
Whoops.
Well, now that is a beautiful, beautiful interior. Now, yeah. Were you trying to stay with a particular retro theme, or were you able to kind of freewheel a little bit?
We really wanted to stick with the vintage feel, and we wanted to preserve as much of the interior as possible. Some it wasn't possible just due to damage over the years, over the 30 years, but we really liked the faux wood of the cabinets and the metal and things like that. So we tried to keep what we could, and what we had to replace, we tried to make it be as in line with the vintage feel as we could.
Mm-hmm. Now, was there room enough where you could add a little insulation to maybe make it even out the temperatures?
We didn't go that far. We left the walls were in perfect place, and it was pretty well insulated. You do feel a little bit more through the floor than anything else, but we know it stayed well insulated just because when we ran the AC, it was pretty frigid on some mornings, even though it was 90 degrees outside.
Well, that's a sign you got a good unit, or a good air conditioning unit anyway. What was I saw the numbers on the photograph. What is that indicating?
So we just listed what we did as far as the renovation process. What we tried to go step by step through what the Airstream looked like before, why we changed it, and how we did so.
What got the biggest response from your blog readers, and what did people find most interesting?
I think probably the metal walls that where you see number 1 and 2, that was original, the faux, kind of fake faux wood, which we love. But behind those boards that are hanging up at number 1 and 2, there were large holes that had been cut into the walls, and that wood is not replaceable. So we had metal fabricated and cut and created new walls that matches the rest of the metal trim within the Airstream. So even though it's not original, we thought it really kept with the original vibe.
Yeah, and the original vibe, you've got the avocado colored clock and the avocado oven there, just perfect.
So that was before, and we did paint the stove kind of a strawberry pink red, which
I like that.
Goes against the grain for some people, but we wanted to brighten it up just a little bit.
Yeah, well, Courtney's over here switching like mad, trying to bring up the right photos at the right time. What other questions did you have, Courtney?
Well, let's talk about the trip. But you guys did over 30,000 miles in 2011. Let's pick out a couple highlights there, and maybe some faux pas of first-time RVers.
I think the biggest faux pas, the thing that we would advise 100% is that we really anticipated staying at a lot of state and national parks, and naively didn't realize that none of those would offer hookups, that it's mainly set up for people who can boondock or rely on generators and solar panels and their gray tanks. And we had no idea of that, and that excluded us because our Airstream was not equipped for that. We didn't have a gray tank because in the 70s they didn't, put those on there regularly. And it kept us having to stay at privately owned RV parks, which was something we didn't expect, was more expensive. We didn't meet as many young people, we think, because of that. And that would be our number one faux pas, is not being prepared to be able to stay independently.
Yeah, I have, the whole boondocking and national parks is a huge thing, and that's good to know, because until recently I was also unaware of that. So making sure that you are equipped to boondock is a good thing. So that's definitely a good tip there. What are a couple of trips that you just say we've got to go back, or it was just something really neat that maybe off the beaten path?
Definitely one of our first stops was our favorite, and that was Marathon, Texas. Marathon in Marfa, Texas, we absolutely fell in love with. We'll go back many times. A definite highlight of the trip. Also, sorry about that. Also, Rosslyn, Washington is one of our very favorite spots. We love that.
Louisiana, New Orleans, they have drive-through daiquiri.
Yeah.
Right there as you're going home. So
always a good thing.
Going back to the Airstream with a nice pina colada.
Oh, that's nice.
Right there, you're showing one of our favorites, which is the Redwoods. And that's obviously not off the beaten path. I know a lot of people are very well aware of it, but it just is something that we think back on over and over again, how amazing and just mind-boggling the redwoods are. But for off the beaten path, we couldn't recommend Marathon more.
So after 13 years of marriage, how was this year of togetherness? Any surprises?
Keep learning.
You better have a good divorce lawyer. Some people probably wouldn't make it. It definitely tests. It shows how strong your marriage is or not.
It really wasn't difficult for us. There were definitely difficult things about the year, but as far as for us as a couple, that didn't factor into it.
And so how were you able to blog each day, or did you kind of save things up and blog on the weekends? It'd be a shame to be on the computer when there's all this stuff to do around you.
I spent a lot of evenings after everything was said and done on the computer. So I tried to blog daily, and if I didn't, the photos would backlog so much on me it would take forever. So basically my evenings were blogging.
That's it. It does seem like fun, though. You kind of get to reminisce after even the day and think, oh, because I think I've been on trips sometimes and I thought, oh, I forgot we did that today. And the days start running together, and it's good to just keep a track of it. And your blog, I'll bring it up one more time. It's just really well designed. It's a really nice blog, and you've got a portion of it, Tiffany, and then Sean's got a portion of it, and he kind of jokes that she gives him a small portion. Where I love the part, Sean, where you talk about your T-shirts. Can we talk about your T-shirt today for just a quick second? We'll get off subject here. What T-shirt you got on today? There he is. I like it.
It's got kind of a little Yogi Bear and boo-boo reminiscent camping. It's got a little RV on there. That's
perfect for today.
Where can people go to get a picture of Eddie and follow your adventures and so forth? What's the web address?
So it's wanderingairstream.com.
Wanderingairstream.com. Do you guys plan to wander any more in the near future?
Absolutely. We want to go out every year a little bit. We hope to go out at least for a couple of months a year, starting usually in the summertime. So we found this year that weather is such a big factor, and we're less of the winter adventure types and more of the warm, sunny weather types.
I don't blame you. The cold can be a bear sometimes. So, guys, thank you so much. We we appreciate your patience with us and our tech gremlins that came along today. And again, you can check them out, wonderingairstream.com. You guys have a great weekend, and keep in touch, okay?
Thanks so much for having us.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.